Hello, welcome to Benjamin Tree. Today we're going to be talking about the function weekday. This function takes the serial number for a date and it returns to us what weekday or what day of the week that this date occurred on. So we're going to be taking important events in space exploration and finding out what day of the week they occurred on. So let's go ahead and start. So we're going to start with the first ICBM and we're going to put the function in equals weekday, and then we need to return it. We need to input a serial number. So we're going to take the date, which is actually a serial number from C3, the date on this row, and we're going to be using that for our serial number. Now you might notice that there's a second input that we can put in, and this is in brackets, so it's optional. We don't need to. But if we put it in there, basically it's just saying what kind of return type do we want for this. So it says what day will be the first number to come out and what day will it represent. Now you don't need to put this in. If you want to change it and have number 1 equals Friday, then you need to put the number 15 in here. But for our purposes, we're just going to leave this blank, and what that means is that number 1 will mean a Sunday, number 4 will mean a Wednesday, and number 7 will mean a Saturday. Again, this is optional, and while I'm using this, I'm just going to leave this blank. Okay, so we finish this, we close it out, and it says that the first ICBM was launched on a Wednesday. So one more time, we're going to say equals weekday, and then we're going to put the serial number for the first artificial satellite, which is in cell C4. And we're going to close this out, and we get 6. So the first artificial satellite, Sputnik, was on a Friday. Okay, and then we can drag this formula down to all the rest. Now, if you're putting weekday inside of a giant formula that uses different functions, you probably want to keep it as a number because you might want to add or subtract or do other if statements using this weekday number. But right now, if we're just looking at this chart, it's not very easy for someone to quickly look at it and figure out what day did the first woman in space go up. So they would have to go 1 Sunday. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to edit this and put a bunch of if statements in and have the results be the days of the week spelled out in a text string. So let's go back to this one, and we're going to start off. Okay, so we're going to start off if weekday, all right, and the serial number C3, which is the date from this row, is equal to 1, then we want to display Sunday. If it's false, then we want to do another if statement. Okay, if it's not Sunday, let's try another if statement. If weekday of C3 is equal to 2, we want to display Monday. If that's false, then it means it's not Sunday, it's not Monday. Let's do another if statement. If weekday of C3 is equal to 3, then let's display Tuesday. Okay, if that's false, let's try another if statement. If weekday of C3 is equal to 4, then let's display Wednesday. If that's false, let's try another if statement. If weekday of C3 is equal to 5, then we want to display Thursday. If that's false, let's do another if statement. If weekday of C3 is equal to 6, then let's display Friday. Okay, if that's false, we could do another if statement, but that's not necessary because the only other option we have is 7. Weekday will only result in a number between 1 and 7. So if it's not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, then the only thing it's going to be is a 7. So if all of these if statements fail, then we just know it's going to be a 7. So we just say that if it's false, just put Saturday. And that's just easier than writing another if statement. So we're going to close out all of these parentheses. And now we can see the first ICBM was launched on a Wednesday. Okay, and we can drag this formula down, okay, and edit it. So now we can see the first soft landing on the moon by the USSR happened on a Thursday. The first lunar rover happened on a Tuesday. So this giant formula with all these if statements in it makes it a heck of a lot easier for someone to look at this chart. Now, there's something we can reduce all of these if statements into an array, but arrays are a bit more complicated, and that's going to be in a future lesson. So when you learn about these arrays, you could come back and simplify this if statements. So we practice using the weekday, and we practice changing the number that the weekday returns and putting it into a text of string that's easy for people to read. So for practice doing the same thing using weekday and if form functions in the columns of D3 through D12. Find out what day that these most recent presidents of Mexico were born on, using a similar practice what we did in our lesson today. And when you finish, you can come down to practice answers and check your answers to see if you were correct. Well, thank you for using Benjamin Tree today. If you have any questions, please leave a comment on our YouTube channel, on our blog, or on our Facebook page. Thank you and have a wonderful day.